Hello there and welcome to this training. And can I first of all say a huge thank you for joining me here today. I know we have so many calls on our time. I really appreciate you taking the time and joining me on this training today called Free Stuff First. But I wanted to kind of kick things off by asking you a couple of questions first. And the reason why I'm putting this training together. I don't know if you're anything like me, but are you finding that you need to get money into your bank account right now? I know I've had to go through that as well. The last few months have been particularly tough on a lot of small businesses, and my business has been no exception. And do you sometimes feel completely overwhelmed by all the things you could be doing to the point that you don't know which way to turn and which thing to do next, or that you're feeling that you're on a little bit of a hamster wheel where you're trying to post everywhere and you're getting quite desperate, and that almost comes through in the way you're marketing? Well, if that sounds a little bit like you, then this is the right place. And we're going to spend the next hour or so going through. I've got 10 different strategies that I've been using in my business that have been really effective, that I really want to share with you. And you don't have to do all 10. I don't want to add more overwhelm, but I want you to be able to focus down on the things that are working right now and introduce you to my philosophy really of this idea of free stuff first. Now, I've been in business for a long time. I started my first business in the late 90s. So I've been in business for over 20 years now. And as a new business, not really having any money to spend on advertising, I had to get really creative. And I got very well known for developing PR strategies that got me mega visibility when I had my home staging business in the UK. So much so that I was getting on live TV and using my services on some of the major home improvement shows in the UK. And like I say, that was like 20 years ago. The same strategies that I used then are working now. Even though I'm in a different country, and now I live in the US and I've got the same kind of results here. But this training is not about getting PR. This is about getting visible and getting visible in the right places that you need to get visible in today, because the world has changed. It really has. We are really online all the time. And I've got these 10 strategies, like I say, that have really worked for me. And I really want to help small businesses to realize that you don't have to spend a fortune in advertising, and that traditional advertising has really had its day, and there are many more effective ways of getting the message out. So no matter what kind of industry you're in, be it retail, or maybe you provide services, personal services to businesses or individuals, or maybe even you have products to sell, there's going to be something in these 10 strategies for you to take and run with. Now, I don't expect you to do all 10 because I don't want to add more to your workload, but I want you to recognize the ones that you can use immediately, the ones that perhaps you're not using at the moment, or if you are using, maybe aren't using in the most effective way, and then picking just 3 of those that you can implement and that you can focus on over the next week. And then you'll start to see money actually coming back into your bank account. If you do the work, I'm pretty sure that's going to happen for you, just in the way that it has done for me and many of my clients. So let's get started. Now, I have got some notes which we're going to be going through. So if I kind of keep referring to them, that's what I'm looking at. But the idea of this is free stuff first. It's the free and low cost form of promoting your business, marketing, how to market the most effectively without spending a lot of money on advertising. In fact, I'm not even suggesting that we go down the advertising route at all. So first and foremost, if you haven't set it up yet, and it just depends how far you are along with your business, is you need to set up a Facebook page for your business. It used to be called a fan page. It's now called a business page. But set up a Facebook business page and start posting photographs or video one or the two. If you just put text is great, pictures are better, video better still, as far as engagement is concerned. But if you have a tea business, say, you could be promoting a daily special. Maybe you could do a table setting, or you could be focusing on a particular product if you're a product producer. If you are a coach or do some kind of service, maybe you can tell a story. But if you tell a small story, make sure there's some form of picture in there. And that might be a happy customer, or maybe on the telephone, but something that grabs people's attention. So posting something on Facebook, getting that Facebook page set up is the most important thing to do today. Even without a logo, even without letterhead. Do people use letterhead anymore? Even before your own website. Now, I know this works because that's how I started my Tina's traditional business. I started off with a Facebook fan page or business page first, and started talking about what I was offering, what I had available that week, where I would be, and got a little bit of momentum running at the same time. Now, because I was out in the real world and I was out at farmers markets, I'd also take a notepad similar to this, so people could actually sign up, and then I would transpose this onto my mailing list, and we'll come on to mailing lists a little bit more. But setting up your Facebook page is the very first step, I think. And if you've got product, if you're doing retail, as long as you've got a story to tell, something to say, and that's where you need to be creative. But starting with your Facebook page first is the very first step. So let's move on to number 2. Did you know that there's a new feature in Facebook where you can actually set up a Facebook store? A bit like the Facebook marketplace, where you can trade and sell things through Facebook. You can actually set up now a Facebook store if you've got products that you're selling. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like a packet of tea type of product. It could be a coaching product. It could be a service bundle that you're selling. But you can actually have that on your Facebook page as well. And the beauty of that is that you can link to specific products or services, and that drives actual sales and gets money into your bank account straight away. So that's certainly something worth looking into. I know that's something we've had going now for a couple of months, and it's really delivering results. So let's have a look at the third one. How do you feel about going live and having your face and your video a little bit like this? I mean, I'm doing this through Zoom, but it could quite easily be through Facebook Live. And let me tell you what we did through lockdown. So back in March 17th was when we had to close our store. And I don't know about you, but I was finding it very difficult to keep motivated. And in order to help me keep motivated, I decided I was going to commit to a daily Facebook Live to stay connected with my fan base, my customer base. And I did it over a cup of tea. I mean, it was a tea room business, so it was about the cup of tea and the mug for the day, or the cup for the day. I would just do 5 minutes talking about the tea that I was drinking, checking in with everybody to see how they were, maybe talking about the china I was using that day, and just setting up this little thing for people to look forward to. And I know I get a lot of people saying to me, Tina, how many times should I do this? I don't want to be a nuisance. I don't want to come across as desperate. I don't want to come across as being too frequent. You'll never be too frequent, because at the end of the day, people aren't online all the time. They will miss your stuff. But if you do it regularly, and I was doing 11 o'clock every morning, making a cup of tea, it made sure that I was up and dressed and ready to go by 11 with a cup of tea in hand. So it helped me, but it also really, really helped my customers, to the point that I was actually getting connection, not just from the people that would come into my store, but people from much further afield that could connect with me in the virtual world in a way that they could never do in the real world. And that kind of blew me away. I hadn't appreciated that I could reach more by going virtual. So if you are happy enough to go on camera, and it does take a bit of nerve to do this, but the more you do, the more confidence you get, do Facebook Lives. And because it's video, and like I said in point 1, if you can do text, it's fine. If you can do pictures, it's better. But if you can do video, it gives you the most engagement. Doing Facebook Lives is the way to go. And if you can do it consistently, daily, or a certain day of the week at a certain time, and be consistent, people start to look forward to it, and they even start to move their schedule and make themselves available to see it live. And of course, they can always get the replay, just like you can today from this Zoom. So Facebook Lives, really, really important. So that was number 3. So number 4, you can share these posts that you do in other places. You can share it on your personal page. That way you are reaching all the people that know you anyway, and they can then share it with the people they know. So that really kind of helps you spread the word and get more visible. Visibility is something I'm very keen on, that phrase. So it's less about marketing, more about visibility, so that you're getting more reach. And then you can share it in your Facebook story. And you can even, I don't know if you use LinkedIn, but LinkedIn can be another good social media platform if you've already got a profile on there, or if you're working more with consultants or with businesses, then having a LinkedIn page, having a profile on there, and then posting an actual post on LinkedIn shares the same shares the same content. And this is the thing that I think we sometimes get overwhelmed with. We think, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to create all this content. Don't. Create it once and use it many times. I don't know if you know of the marketer Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He always talks about this idea of pillar content. So you can make a big piece of content, you can cut it down, you can edit it, you can transcribe it, you can repost it, but the idea is that you build it once and you can use it many times. You're not having to recreate new stuff for different platforms. But Facebook, if you have an audience in their 40s and upwards, Facebook is still the best forum for actually identifying people down to not just their demographic, but their age, their interests. It's a really good forum for doing that. And the reach that you can get on Facebook is phenomenal. Now, I know Instagram is another good way to go. And if you can connect your Instagram to your Facebook again, you just create it once and it cascades down. The challenge with Instagram is that it's got to be a lot shorter. In Facebook, you have a much broader way of delivering your content. Your videos can be longer, your text can be longer. You're not having those constraints that you have on some of the other platforms. So Facebook really works for me, and I think it's going to work for a lot of other businesses just like yours. So let's have a look at the next one, number 5. We're halfway through. So let's have a look at what our 5th one is. So a lot of people get kind of sucked into Facebook and start to advertise too soon, or start to spend money too soon. And you might have seen that little box at the bottom, that little button at the bottom of a post where it says boost. And it's very tempting to get sucked into the idea that you want more eyeballs on your stuff and that you want to spend money getting that. Now, what I would suggest is don't boost your posts. And you know, it can be very tempting to do that, but I would really recommend that you don't. If you do spend any money with Facebook, only spend $10 at a time and keep that spend really, really low over, say, a week's period, and then let it stop. Don't keep adding to it, because you can spend an absolute fortune and not get the return. And what we're looking at here is free stuff first, but also the stuff that's effective. So I don't want you wasting your money on doing boosts, because what a boost does, it gives Facebook your $10, and then Facebook decides who's going to see that posting, not you. And that's why it's best avoided. If you're going to spend money on Facebook, set up a Facebook ad and make sure it's to your target audience. And like I say, Facebook's really good at knowing so much about everybody. I mean, it's kind of scary when you think of it, about what does Facebook know about me? But from a marketer's point of view, when you're marketing your business, when you're trying to get the visibility, trying to get in front of the right people, the right clients, your demographic, the people that will buy from you. And as I often say, the word everybody is such a bad word in marketing. It really needs to be very specific, need to be niched down into a specific type of marketplace, but also to the right type of person that will actually click and buy, because that, at the end of the day, is what we need to get money into your bank account right now. So don't boost your posts, but if you're going to spend your $10, do it in such a way that is actually, rather than just saying, hey, I'm here, you're actually selling a specific thing. Now, I use Facebook targeted advertising. I only spend $10 at a time. If I am selling a ticket to an event, and we can talk a little bit more about tickets and events and things like that in a moment, or we do a direct link to the page that's actually selling an item, so a product. So it would be something like a packet of tea or a bake mix in the tea room environment kind of idea. It would be to a specific event that's maybe running next week or next month. And I usually do it, if it's a month out event, I would do a Facebook ad the week of the event. So say it's Wednesday today, and Wednesday next week when I'm running an event, I will set up a 7-day advert to go through Facebook, spend no more than $10 Wednesday through Wednesday, and that would be it. And the reason I leave it to the last week is that the way I market my events, I'm getting other ways of marketing those events first and ticket sales in first. And only if I haven't sold all my tickets, then I go to Facebook advertising. So that's almost like the last resort. Free stuff first, paid advertising, more of a last resort. So number six is events. Now, I run a lot of events through my tea time experience business. I'm no longer running a tea room. I have a tea time experience business, and I run events on a weekly basis, and then I add a few extra ones in as well. But I promote that through a website called Eventbrite. Now, this did come up in one of my closed Facebook group discussions about how to promote events. I do love using Eventbrite, and this is the reason why. Now, you can set up Eventbrite to directly deposit into your bank account, and when you've done enough of them, they will deposit before the event. When you're first starting, they'll only deposit after the event. So they do hold on to the money a little bit longer when you first start. They do charge a fee. Now, you can pass that fee on to your participant, which is what I would do. Now, there will be a fee for handling the money, the merchant fee transaction that you will have to pay for anyway. But to me, that's just a cost of business, and I try and build that into whatever the pricing structure is going to be. But the beautiful thing about Eventbrite is that it's not just going out to my people. It's not just going out to my email list or my Facebook fan base. It's going out to those people that are signed up to Eventbrite. So it's going to a very new market. It's reaching people that I myself would never reach. And that, my friend, is so worth it. So if you're doing any event, even if you're doing a free event, even if you're doing a little consultation, even if you are doing a little coaching thing, through Eventbrite. If it's free, through Eventbrite, you will reach more people doing it that way. And it's been absolutely a godsend as far as getting money into my bank account every week. So if you can create an event, the thing is with marketing, you have to have something to say. It's a kind of a fundamental part of marketing. You have to have a story to tell or something to say, and you need to have something to say that's different frequently and regularly. And the best way of doing that is creating some form of an event. Now, normally I would try and get my events planned out 4 weeks in advance so that the internet can do its magic, as I like to say, so that the Eventbrite or whatever platform you use is starting to churn and starting to reach people. It allows you time to do your own email marketing, and it also allows time to do that backstop Facebook advertising marketing if you really get stuck. And what kind of events could it be? It could be a tea tasting or some kind of demonstration. I do a weekly demonstration. I actually do bake classes. It could be a physical get together, either networking or a tea party, a themed tea party or something like that. So there's lots of ideas, and we can certainly brainstorm those at a later date. But events, they are different each week or month. It's something new to say. And it also is a limited time thing. It's a limited time offer, if you like. So there's scarcity, and there's beauty in scarcity. Because in scarcity, you only have this a little bit of time. You only have, so many tickets, and it's a one-off thing. If you are doing the same thing day in, day out, where's the urgency? People aren't going to buy. They'll think they can come back later. And you might not be here later. So you need to make it happen now. And events are the best way of formulating that. So that was number 6. Let's go on to number 7. Number 7. Now, we've talked a little bit about Facebook and all the lovely things you can do with that. We've talked a little bit about Eventbrite and how we can link Facebook. We can do a Facebook post that links to our Eventbrite sale and buy a ticket now. So those kind of things link together really well. Number 7, though, is making sure that you are claiming your Google listing. Really important if you have a physical location. Excuse me. But even if you don't, and you're working from home, you can still create a Google listing against your home address. And claiming that listing is vital, because Google will give you that listing for free stuff first. And you can, as well as setting yourself up on Google. And if you think about it, excuse me, I'm going to have to have a little sip of it. So the thing is about Google, you have to be found on Google. You can do SEO, and that's a talk for another time, I think. But when you go to Google and you type in, I don't know, tea rooms, Indiana, and things come up on the screen, you'll get your listings, and then you'll get the little pop out on the right hand side. Sorry, on the right hand side, because we're flipped here, aren't we? On Zoom. You'll have this thing on the right hand side that is basically pops up your particular business, and it has all the information on there, your opening hours if you're a physical location. But did you also know that you can also add photographs, and you can add events to your Google listing? Free stuff first. Really use everything that's available in that Google listing, and it will get you ranked higher as well. So if people do know your name, they can type it in, and they can see, like, when you're open, if you have a physical location, or your phone number, whatever information you want to put on there, and it comes up first. So really important to do that. It gives you better ranking, better visibility when people are using Google to search, and to be honest, most people do today. And then if you do have a restaurant, tea room, physical location, some kind of retail outlet, it's also important that people can find you. And then don't forget Yelp. Yelp is one of those listing websites that is really there for the reviews of your business. Now, with both Google and Yelp, you do need to make sure that you're managing the reviews. People do read reviews and they will decide whether or not to go to your place of business based on those reviews. I've actually had people coming into my retail store and saying things like, we've come to you because we saw that you responded to every single review on Google. You responded to every single one, even the ones that weren't so good, and you did it so graciously. And that meant that was why they wanted to come to me rather than one of my competitors. And it's like, wow, how could something so simple? Don't let people go on to these review sites, leave bad reviews, and you not respond to them, or worse still, respond to them in a very negative way. You have to embrace it. People are going to say stuff about you anyway. That listing is going to be up there if you claim it or not. If you claim it, manage it, turn it around. I've had a 1-star rating on Yelp be turned around to a 5-star rating just because of the way that I handled that whole situation. Had I not owned that listing, as in take ownership of it, had I not responded to those reviews and had not actually managed to work out who the client was and what the problem had been, and really went quite deep with that, but actually turn that around. And that's really important, especially for a small business, to make sure that whatever misunderstanding has taken place, and to be honest, a lot of poor reviews are down to poor communication or misunderstanding in some way, then it could be turned around. And I know a lot of restaurateurs are perhaps a little fearful of taking that on board, but it's important to get your listing filled in and manage the listing so that you're adding great photographs, you're adding events on Google, and that you are responding in a positive and kind way, no matter how horrible the review might be, to all your reviews. And that is certainly worth your time and effort doing that. So claim the listing was number 7. And managing your listing is number 8 on my list. Now, talking of lists, let me just have another little sip here because I'm rambling along here. I want to touch on this idea of building an email list. Now, there might be some myths going around that email is dead. Can I just say that is so not the case? And that building your email list is probably the most valuable piece of real estate, the most valuable piece of what we call IP, intellectual property, that you own. And you own it. When you're on Facebook, you are at the whim of Facebook's algorithms. If you're on any other platform, you are at the whim of the platform. And prices go up. All sorts of things can happen. Algorithms can change, so you're not reaching the people you thought you were going to reach, yada, yada, yada. You've heard all about that. But if you build an email list and you build it correctly, I'm not talking about buying an email list, I'm talking about growing an email list organically of people that know you or want to know more about what you have to offer. You build that list and it is dynamite. And that is the reason I've managed to stay in business over Corona, because without my mailing list, without reaching out to my clients that I have anyway, the chances are I wouldn't still be in business. I wouldn't be able to reach the people that already know me. So many people come to me, so many business owners come to me and ask the question, and it's the wrong question. They ask this question, they ask, how do I get more clients? How do I get more customers? You don't have to if you grow a mailing list. You can then remarket to the same ones. It's so much harder to get a new client than it is to sell more. to an existing one. It costs so much more to do because you're having to pay for advertising, you're having to you have to get yourself out there more, and you're spending more money to get those connections. But if you grow your list organically, if you grow your list, if you value those email addresses and nurture that list, it is so valuable. It will really get you out of the hard times, just like it's got me out of the hard times through the lockdown, through Corona, through dropping physical sales in the store, enabling me to go online, being able to bring those clients across, being able to tell my story, being able to encourage them, being able to inform them, being able to position the services and products I sell to meet them where they are, to understand them, and not worry about getting lots and lots of new customers, which, like I say, can cost an absolute fortune. So building your email list. Now, some of you might be using a point of sale, a POS, or some form of register, electronic register. Now, in my business, I use Square, and I started using Square, back in 2011, when I was selling scones at farmers markets, and I was in the middle of a field, and I wanted to be able to take a credit card in the field rather than just cash. And I love Square. I am probably Square's biggest advocate, and no, they don't pay me to promote this. It's just what I've found really works well in my business, and it works in my business even more than ever now. Now, Square has evolved over the years and has lots more functionality within it. So as well as being able to take a credit card in the physical world, we can set up invoicing to be emailed out to people so that they can pay by their credit card just off the back of an email. I can collect emails from my website, and I'll touch a little bit on that in a moment, about collecting emails through your website. But now I've got this list, and I actually combined my Square list with my email list and found that I had over 7,500 connections that knew me, that had given their email to me willingly, and that I can now market to them. And I market to them 3 times a week. I'd market to them every day if I had something to tell them every day. And I don't want you to be fearful, because a lot of people say, what's the best day to send an email? How often should I send it? You don't want to spam people, but if you've got something important to tell them, or something that would serve them well, and a story to tell that makes them the hero, not you, then 3 times a week is not too often. 4 times a week would not be too often. 5 times a week would not be too often. If you only do it once a month, it's probably not enough today. Now, 20 years ago, I would send out a monthly newsletter, and people would look forward to receiving the newsletter, to the point that if it was a little bit late, maybe 2 or 3 days late, people would be emailing me, asking me if I was still there and if there was an email coming, or had they missed it. So I know people look forward to receiving this stuff. But nowadays, you do need to be doing it much more frequently, because we do get so much distraction. I mean, our phones are not just, email's not just on our computer anymore, it's on our phones. We get all sorts of social media alerts, email alerts, Facebook alerts, all sorts of stuff going on. So it's easy for people to miss it, or to delete it once but then read it the second time. So don't let that put you off. So build the email list. I say we're using Square, and through our website we actually use Wix. Wix is our website, and there is a whole training available around how to start collecting emails from your website. Now, even if you just put a little thing at the bottom of your website that says sign up to our newsletter, is better than nothing. But if you really want to start growing your list, The idea is to have something of value that you can give people for signing up to your newsletter. And we do that by just doing a little guide, and gets people into our system, into our Wix system, and then we can build in nurturing emails that go out on a regular basis, but it's sequenced. So you sign up today, and then tomorrow you'll get part of a story, and then the following day you'll get part 2, and then in 3 days after that you'll get some information about something else, and it kind of goes through this sequence, and that's a beautiful way of actually nurturing your list, which you will need to do. And number 10, my 10th strategy is doing email marketing on a regular basis, 2 or 3 times a week. I think at the moment is absolute minimum that you need to be doing. So I hope I've not overwhelmed you too much, but in summary, the idea is to focus on just 3 of the items that I covered in this training, and I'm recording it so that you can go back and listen to it again, but pick 3 things that you're not doing now, or that would be easy for you to do. So for example, if you haven't set up your Facebook page yet, get it set up. Start posting to it and reposting to your other pages, like your personal page or your story page. If you have got product, set up a Facebook store and start selling your product. And when you are doing a Facebook post, link to the specific product. It's so powerful. It actually puts cash into your bank account straight away. If you are confident enough to go online live, that can be so powerful to actually do a live. Don't boost your posts, save your money. Don't boost posts. If you want to spend money later, then do it through a Facebook ad, $10 at a time. Don't spend any more. Do it for specific items. Think about events. If you're not doing events already, get those set up on Eventbrite, and start reaching their clientele and start bringing those into your business. If you haven't already done so, claim your Google listing. It's free. Free stuff first, remember, gives you more visibility. It comes up on that front page of Google, and populate it with photographs or events or anything that you've got going on. Will give you so many hits, it's unreal. And again, that links through to your website. You can put a button to make a reservation, or buy now if it's a product, or book now if it's a session. So no matter what industry you're in, you should be able to use these tools. And email, it's not dead. Resurrect it. Some people I've spoken to recently said, well, you know, I don't really have to email, or I have an email list, or I don't really do anything with it. I even met somebody that was buying email lists and wondering why she was getting no response. It's because they don't know you yet. Focus on the people that have already been in contact with you. And if you're selling online, like I am, you'll have to get their email addresses anyway. So that automatically goes into your mailing list. And then you can resell and resell to the same people. It's much easier to do that and build those relationships through your email. So I hope that has been helpful. I have got a few questions that have come through to me through the Facebook pages and through Messenger and through email to me. Most of them are around the idea of how do I get visible? How do I start to market? Where should I best advertise? Where should you best advertise? Well, my idea to you is don't spend money advertising if you don't have to. Free stuff first. Free stuff first. Write that down. Free stuff first. And this is where I want you to make a commitment. I want you to make a pledge. I want you to write this down. I'm going to do free stuff first. I'm going to do free stuff first. I'm going to pick 3 things. I'm going to pick 3 things I'm going to focus on this week. And I want you to hop on to Facebook. hop on to Messenger, message me, let me know what you're doing, what you've achieved. And I'll be putting some questions up there asking you to tell me about what's working for you right now. What are the strategies? What of these 10 strategies have you run with? And what results are you getting? Because I'm pretty confident that if you do this stuff, if you focus on this and you do free stuff first and you focus on right clients right now, you will start to get money into your bank account. And I think that's what we're needing to do as small business owners, no matter where you are. If you are in the US or even in the UK or in Canada, I have several clients up in Canada, Australia, India. No matter where you are in the world, this stuff is working. Let me know how you get on. Deep breath. You've got this, girl. You've got this, guy. You have got this. You can make this business work. You just need to be putting the focus